아니, 우이. Prima. Здесь пишут, bazuka partlaydı.
В дальнейшем существовании. В противном случае им не поможет и ядерное оружие. И потом, ну а что вы требуете от Ирана по этому ядерному оружию? Если исходить с позиции справедливости, Соединенные Штаты Америки имеют ядерное оружие? Имеют. Ну ладно, США давно, родоначальники ядерного оружия давно имеют. Но Израиль помалкивает ведь о том, что у них есть ядерное оружие. Иранцы могут спросить, а почему они не могут иметь ядерное оружие? Тем более рядом мир, Индия, Пакистан, ядерные державы. Почему Иран не может иметь ядерное оружие? Если по справедливости, то давайте ликвидировать будем потихоньку, поэтапно все ядерное оружие в мире. Но если это фактор сдерживания и фактор того, что на тебя никто никогда не нападет.
Officials are blasting the deal. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said the IDF will not withdraw its forces from Lebanon. How do you see this as possibly complicating negotiations?
Well, look, we expect the Israeli government to be good partners, but to be clear, President Trump has been negotiating for peace on behalf of the American people, not to mention the only reason that we went in the first place is because we did see that there was imminent attack on our U.S. forces in the southern region, specifically with our bases, and the casualty assessment would not have been good for our service members. So to be clear, I do think that President Netanyahu will yield to the President's Council, not to mention, and I hate to bring this up, but the U.S. government does provide a significant amount of aid, and we do have a very good historical relationship. So it would not be in the best interest of Netanyahu for the Israeli government to blow up a peace deal that we do expect them to adhere to, not to mention we have other countries that are part of the Abraham Accords, as well as Gulf countries that are going to be fully ensuring that the Iranians maintain.
First of all, I do believe the draft is coming. But not only that, but I believe that the draft is coming to many countries, including Canada, Australia, Europe. And you think that the purpose of a draft is to fight a war. But you think about it deeply, the purpose of a draft is to reorganize society in a certain way. So in America today, what do young men do? Well, they buy Bitcoin, they gamble online, they're on OnlyFans, they don't want to work because the pay is too low, and this is a disaster for the country. Young men go to college, and for 4 years, they drink beer and watch football games. And they don't learn anything, right? So you have this huge social problem on your hands, and that young men aren't contributing effectively to your economy. So what you do is you engineer a financial crisis, like the Great Depression, so that you're forced to work because your parents have no more money. And then you have a national draft to teach you skills that you will need in order to contribute more effectively to the economy, okay? So a draft doesn't necessarily mean that you go to war. A draft just means that you work for the government for like 5 to 10 years. And it's possible like they train you to be an engineer in the Navy. Believe it or not, but the best education you can possibly receive is often from the military because unlike schools, they're incentivized to actually teach you something useful, okay? And it's often for free. So a draft is something that they need in order to basically train young men to be effective contributors to the economy. And it's something that many countries will adopt as well. If you just let young men do whatever they want, they're just going to play video games, spend all their money on OnlyFans, and gamble everything on Bitcoin, okay? And they don't really know anything useful. So this is a huge problem, and that's why they need a national draft to fix this problem. So should you run away if there's a draft? I already told you there's no place to run to, okay? Either you go to a nation with a draft, or you go to a nation which has even worse problems like famine, okay? So, I mean, what's important is to recognize that the world is changing